Instagram. I which is a psychology channel where we talk about overthinking, over explaining, um, people pleasing, perfectionism, and various other topics. It's a psychology channel. Today, we're actually going to be pulling from my second podcast, which is Grace and Gavel, where truth meets compassion, as I am an almost 18-year criminal defense attorney. And so the topics we are doing today are the most disturbing cases are the ones where people simply walk away. And the second part is why suspicious behavior isn't always proof of murder. So let's go into the topics that we're doing. Again, the issue with the disturbing cases is when people simply walk away, is because ultimately a lot of those people are not found. There are some that actually are. I remember watching a disappeared episode many years back where there was this woman who had disappeared in a truck stop, and people assumed that she had been potentially taken by a trucker and harm had come to her because her family could not find her for years and years and years. And I believe the mother had hired a private investigator, and the private investigator had actually located the woman, and she was alive. She had decided to walk away from her family and her friends and start a new life. And eventually she said, or essentially she said, that she had no illusions that she was going to come back. She did talk to her mother for a little bit, but beyond that, there was no reconciliation. There was nothing that kept her from returning to her hometown. And so she ended up living elsewhere. The mother obviously was disappointed because she'd been looking for her, but I think she was glad that she was alive and said that at some point they may end up reconnecting again, or they may not, and so you don't really know where that story ended. That was actually one of the only ones that I've seen where someone actually turned up. So, no struggle, no confirmed abduction, no body, and no answers. Just an abandoned car, missing shoes, strange behavior, and someone who seemingly vanished into thin air. And honestly, those are the cases that haunt people the most. Cases involving abandoned vehicles disturb people differently because cars symbolize control, but it's actually a false sense of security that we have while we're in our vehicle. I tend to, as soon as I get into a vehicle, I tend to lock it immediately because you never know. And you're supposed to drive home, arrive safely, and continue the routine. But when a vehicle is found abandoned, the brain immediately senses interruption. Something broke the pattern. And psychologically, humans hate unfinished stories. Let's talk about why car cases feel so haunting. Cases like Maura Murray, or Brandon Lawson, or Jennifer Kesse, or Patricia Meehan all trigger the same primal fear. A person can disappear during an ordinary moment. And that terrifies people because it destroys the illusion of predictability. Let's talk about the legal perspective. One thing the public often misunderstands: behavior after a crash or stressful event can appear irrational without criminality. People panic. Some people dissociate. Some flee. Some hide. Some become confused. Some enter survival mode. That's important because the public often interprets strange behavior as proof of foul play. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. So in closing, the most terrifying mysteries are often the ones with the fewest answers, because the human brain keeps trying to finish the story. Let's go to part 2. Why suspicious behavior isn't always proof of murder. One of the biggest mistakes true crime audiences make is assuming they acted weird, therefore they're guilty. But legally, behavior alone is incredibly dangerous evidence. As someone with a legal background, I'm an almost 18-year criminal defense attorney, I can tell you, behave strangely. Trauma, panic, grief, intoxication, sleep deprivation, fear, And hindsight bias causes people to interpret ordinary actions as sinister after a disappearance. Let's talk about confirmation bias. Once someone becomes the suspect publicly, people reinterpret everything through the lens. Suddenly, nervousness becomes guilt, inconsistencies become lies, and confusion becomes deception. And social media intensifies this dramatically. Let's talk about why circumstantial cases become messy. Circumstantial evidence matters a lot, but people misunderstand what circumstantial evidence actually is. Most criminal convictions involve circumstantial evidence. The problem happens when emotion replaces evidence. Rumors become facts. Timelines get distorted. Internal theories outrun proof. And honestly, some innocent people probably looked guilty. Some guilty people probably looked calm. That's why evidence matters more than vibes. Closing. The justice system is supposed to protect people from conclusions built entirely on emotion, even when emotions are understandable. Thank you for tuning in to Grace and Gavel, where truth meets compassion. My name is Buffy. I'm an almost 18-year criminal defense attorney, and I hope that you'll come back and see us again soon, and hopefully like and subscribe if you got some value from this. Have a great day. Bye-bye.